Let's commence. Today, we are going to be talking about
Need to mute everybody.
7 channels of elimination and how they're related to our energy, stress, and mood. And as you see, we have our lovely co owner woman with us today, also known as my mother. So we're gonna be chatting with you guys a little bit, and I do see some comments. Good evening, Kate. Some of you know Kate.
Hi, Kate.
She works
Hi, Regina.
with us. She works with us with bread making classes and also raw vegan classes and everything good about food and making it taste amazing. Um, Hello, Gwendolyn. Hello, Regina. So, this is a herbal hour, but again, we like to open it up for questions. So, um, for questions that you have as we're talking on our topic, you can drop it in the chat. But if you do have questions as well that you verbally want to tell us, just use it's down here somewhere. There's a little hand icon, like raising your hand um icon. And if you can't find it for some reason, then you can just let us know that you want to verbally ask your question out loud. We'll probably take those questions a little bit more towards the end, just to keep things flowing. But again, if you have questions as we're going along, feel free to just start adding them to the chat, and we will answer them. Um, and like we mentioned today, like I mentioned a moment ago, the topic is on energy, stress, and mood, and how the 7 channels of elimination in our body affect that. Obviously, we know us what we consume, what we take in on a daily basis, definitely affects our mood, whether it's what we're eating, what we're taking in through our mouths, what we're consuming in the atmosphere, what we're consuming through the water we drink, the down to the soil, down to what our feet are on, because our feet absorb as well. So it's just um it's just a way of thinking about how consuming isn't just what we eat. So moving right along here, we always preface to say that we are not medical doctors. We are not medical here to give you medical advice, to treat anything, to cure anything. This is just information on herbs, 110% about herbs and the power of what they can do for you. And then we also, as many of you probably know, we have a raffle at the end of our presentation, and 2 lucky winners will win one product, but it'll be 2 winners that will qualify to win a product. You just have to be on before 6:15. So you guys on here right now are definitely gonna be counted in. Just make sure you're here at the end so we can get information from you to send you the product. All right, everybody. And I don't know if there's anything you would like to interject. Otherwise, we'll start up with our presentation.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. Go for it.
Okay, sounds good. So we're official because we have a PowerPoint to show you guys today. So we're moving on up in the world, as my father would say. All right, here we go. So as we mentioned, this is gonna be on channels of elimination, but it is also working on the main topic will be on our colon health as well. So here we go. So many people don't even realize that we do have 7 channels of elimination, and our skin is actually one of our largest eliminative organs of our body. People might think that the colon is, but it's actually our skin. The reason being is because, for instance, when we sweat, that is a way of releasing detoxifying toxins. And some people might sweat in more areas than others on their body. And then some people Also, don't sweat, which that's not a good thing. We should sweat. Um, we should be releasing everything that is coming into our system. So, just to give you a more in-depth look at what the skin's job is. It is, again, the most forgotten and it's one of the most overlooked channels. And when we perspire, this process is crucial for regulating our body temperature, but it's also important eliminatory for eliminating toxins. And those toxins will include heavy metals, environmental pollutants, metabolic waste. And when we perspire, when we sweat, these toxins are carried out of the body, and it helps to reduce the burden on other eliminatory channels. So you see those other ones listed here: lungs, kidneys, liver, lymphatic, vaginal tract, colon. W- so talking about the skin right now, but when one channel of elimination is clogged, it affects all the other channels of elimination as well. So we can't just address one and not the other. And even when it comes to, detoxifying the colon, which we talk a lot about here, that is one of the number one, but if we're also not sweating, that's a problem. That is definitely an issue. If we're not urinating properly, we still have a problem with elimination. So, just some things to keep in mind here.
Yeah, I just want to mention when she's talking about the skin, um, as women, I know, especially back in our younger years, for women to perspire was not feminine. It was just, oh no, we can't perspire, did everything we could not to perspire. I just want to share a story. Years back, I remember we had a customer that came in and she was always profusely sweating very heavily, not realizing that she had to do a detox, that because of all the medication she was on and her diet, she really needed to do a detox. When she came to us, when she talked to my husband, Tim, she was sharing all this information, what she's been going through for years, and she was about to go get her a surgery to cut the glands, her sweat glands. And he's like, he goes, that's not a good idea. He said, you're perspiring like that for a reason. You're trying to get those toxins out of the body. He said, you just need some help to try to get those toxins out. So he put her on a program, and needless to say, she never did go and get that surgery. I mean, she was like a week away from getting the surgery. And he told her, why don't you just give the herbs a chance? Give it at least 90 days, or at least give it 6 weeks. He goes, you could postpone your surgery. And she's like, okay, I could do that. And she did get on the program. She did a lot of detoxing. Um, and needless to say, she didn't end up getting this surgery. So perspiring is so important. That's a sign of the body telling you that something's going on and that you have to address it.
Yes, exactly. And, part of that issue for a lot of women in the past and now is, and you'll see, more and more clean products coming out for deodorant and also for lotions and creams, because they're so filled with chemicals, and there still are ones. But what you're putting as a deodorant, what you're putting as perfume, the lotions, the creams, the Vaseline. I know that's a big one.
The worst.
And that's one that a lot of people grow up using. I didn't, just because, we have our creams from our business, and that's all I grew up using on my skin. But that's petroleum based, and we know how deadly petroleum is. So yeah, you have all these different chemicals that are just blocking your skin, and the makeup you're wearing is also clogging your pores. Um, and it can even go as deep as, the laundry detergent you're using on your clothes and your hair products too. So, we just have to be very, very aware of what is coming into contact with our body, especially if it's on us all day long. We're absorbing that. And yeah, like Kate's saying in the commentary, the skin is your third kidney. So if all the toxins are not coming out, it will show up on the skin. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Um, it's a necessity without a doubt, without a doubt.
Especially with all these young kids, you see, I was one of those young kids too, had really bad acne when I was younger. And well, not attributing it to my diet, but as I start learning about the herbs and everything, I start learning more and more on how um, not eliminating creates the problems with the skin. And that's what you see with all these kids because of the bad diets that they have. I mean, they have so much acne on them and they do all these other treatments and they're having no success. All they really need to do is start working on that colon, cleaning it up,
Yep.
you know.
Clean your
Yeah.
colon. Um,
The blood.
not cleaning the blood and also your hormones. And that's the other thing. That's what I was going to mention is all these things that we put on our skin, they are severely imbalancing our hormones.
Mhm.
They call them endocrine disruptors. But the hormone disruptors are just that's affecting our mood big time. That's affecting our energy levels too, because it's the hormones and it's getting into our bloodstream and it's getting into our lymphatic system too. So we're going to cover that a little bit more in a minute, but the lymphatics need to be flushed and are, I believe, like with that lady that was having the surgery, I believe it's a matter of them removing some lymph nodes, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
So lymph nodes also deal with the sweating, but they're a way of us flushing toxins. The lymphatics are vital for our body. So
Mm,
having those removed it's just not a good idea. It's just really not.
mm.
So yes, we're gonna move on here to lungs. Well, we all know how important it is to breathe. At least I hope we all know how important it is to breathe. Screenshot. Um, we need air 24/7. And it is a key element for the channel of elimination. When we breathe, we know we inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide, but we also inhale and exhale a range of other things such as pollutants, fragrances. So, also the perfumes, the colognes, the cleaning products we use, or inhaling all those chemicals. And we also are inhaling molds and other toxins. And the lungs are acting as a filter and they're trapping these substances and they're eliminating them from the body through exhaling. So deep breathing is very important. And it can really help facilitate elimination of toxins by increasing flow to the cells, oxygen flow to the cells, and promoting release of toxins through the breath. And you know, I'm guilty of it myself. Most of us do not breathe properly. I feel like I learned a little bit more of how I should be breathing when I began to take voice lessons. And, as a singer, you learn how to deep breathe into your belly. So, I do highly suggest people learn how to do that because we are always shallow breathing constantly, and the more stress we have added to our life, our everyday routine, we are breathing less and less, and then our posture affects our breathing as well. So being aware of your posture is really important. So all that to say that without breathing properly, everything is affected, but our energy is most definitely affected, and it can also help us to relieve stress or inhaling deeper because our nervous system it needs oxygen flowing. It needs the oxygenation in our body to help it to calm down and to help heal it as well. So it's vital. We need we need much more air than we are receiving on a daily basis. All right, and then we're on to the kidneys. So the kidneys, they're responsible for filtering the waste products from the blood and eliminating them from the body through urination. And when we do urinate, the body is eliminating water-soluble waste products. Thus, this is reducing the burden on our other eliminatory organs. So again, when one channel starts to work properly, all the other channels begin to work better, and there's less of a strain and a stress on them. And also, if we are dehydrated, which most people are, we can impair the efficiency of this channel of elimination, being the kidneys. Proper hydration helps to reduce the concentration of any toxins as they pass through our kidney system. Um, you know, we know that kidney problems is a big one for a lot of people, whether it's a mild form or a more extreme form of kidney issues. But one thing I know, my mom would always tell me is these energy drinks and these sodas, that those two things alone, even also, yes, coffee too, excessive amounts of coffee, everything is putting stress on the whole body, but our kidneys get hit really hard by this. So I know we love our sugary drinks, but and I don't even want to call them sugary drinks, honestly. Our sugary and chemically filled drinks, because it's very the amount of sugar in there is not even as dangerous as the amount of chemicals that are in these drinks. And this even applies to juices nowadays as well. It's not just sodas and energy drinks. It's also and a lot of kids' juices too.
Yeah, and especially these kids who play sports, what is the number one thing the parents have out there for the kids? It's Gatorade.
Yeah,
Um, that's a big no-no.
yeah,
You should coconut water is great, or just water. All these water, vitamin waters, all these water, flavored waters with red dye in it. You really gotta pay attention to that. You have these kids out there working out for an hour. Even these little ones, like my great grandson, he's like 5 years old. They're out there, they're sweating, they're playing. And after they're finished playing, they give them Gatorade, not just regular water, Gatorade and cupcakes and chips.
yes.
That's not
Hmm.
good.
Hmm.
It shocks the system. It shocks the system. So we need to get back to just plain water,
Yes.
and the next best is coconut water. It hydrates the body very well, gives it back all those minerals that the body needs. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I agree.
Mm.
Regina's asking, how about Zevia ginger ale? I've never heard of Zevia ginger ale.
Mm.
I mean, there's not, we're not saying there's all bad drinks out there, but you just need to be very aware of how it's being made. Um, there's some really great juices that don't have all of those sugars and a bunch of words that you can't understand. But at the end of the day too, just still make sure you're drinking water. And if you need to infuse it with strawberries or cucumbers or some fruit that you like, because some people don't like the taste of water. I don't find that it has any taste. It doesn't bother me, but some people don't like the taste of it. That's fine. Do lemon in your water too. Um, we have the chlorophyll is great to add to your water. It
Yes.
has a little minty
Yes.
taste. So just, there's nothing just like water. I mean, it hydrates in a way that not many other not any other drink can do.
And
Um,
also, two things in moderation. I mean, uh, the
exactly.
Tim would always say the best is not available. Do the best you can and do things in moderation.
Yes,
If you
exactly.
want your little soda or something like that, that should be a treat. It's not
Hmm.
something that you do every day. The sugary sweets and things like that. Do it as a treat.
Hmm.
But if we tend to do it every day, we tend to do it sometimes 3 times a day. That's not good. It's going to cause a lot of health problems, but do
Yes.
things in moderation, make a big difference in your health.
And that's the thing, there's other countries. I mean, always think of Europe, for example.
Yeah.
When they give you food, the portions are smaller than here for sure. And even with drinks, that you don't, well, for one, their stuff doesn't have nearly as many chemicals as ours, but it's just less. They're not doing it all day every day, so we have to be aware of how often and how much
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
consuming.
And I want to just say, I see Regina talking about I have my coconut water right here.
I don't think they can see you do that
I
again.
have my coconut water right here.
Yeah,
So
it's
coconut
hard.
water is good.
We love
Yeah.
us some coconut water.
Yeah.
She put a heart. Um, oh, that's interesting. Kate is saying that stevia is bleached. Wow, really? Fascinating.
Yeah, see, I tell you, even when you think you're doing the best, everything's, they find a way of ruining it.
Yeah,
So that's why I say you got to do the best you can with what you have and do things in
yeah,
moderation. That's one thing I love about Kate. She she teaches about bread making. She teaches about juicing. She teaches about raw food. And she teaches you this because you could substitute some of your meals with some of the things that she teaches you. I know most people aren't going to do all their meals like that and be in the kitchen all day because of the society we live in and how we work. But if you could substitute some of your meals with the good stuff that you are putting together yourself, you're getting the fresh stevia, you're getting the fresh greens, it makes a big difference.
yeah,
And if some of you, we'll give you Kate's Instagram handle in a little bit and her information too, and check out what she has because she could really help guide you to substitute some of your meals with some good stuff and how to make some of these healthier juices, and that's what we need to learn.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Someone's asking, can one drink too much coconut water? You know, I'll use
Mm.
this example. I don't remember exactly when it was. It was many years ago. There was a competition that was
Yes.
done on a radio show for a woman to drink one of those 5-gallon things of water, the one that you usually, have at home as extra water or you put it in a machine. And that was part of the competition. She did that and she did it all in one sitting. And it was too much water. I mean, just I always have people be reasonable about consuming anything. Too much of anything isn't
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Um, in that case, that lady that says she passed away because it was too much for
Yes.
it was too much water at one time. But I don't, don't go
Moderation.
drinking crazy amounts of water, but I think you're good
Mhm.
with how much water you're drinking.
Yeah.
And it was told by me by a colon hydrotherapist, which is colonics. If anybody here has had one of those done, they're great. She said, and I try to practice this myself. I'm not always great about it, but she said you should really sip on your water.
Mhm.
We shouldn't gulp down a whole bunch at once. Um, and like I said, I'm not the best with it because sometimes I'm so busy I forget. And I'm like, oh, I haven't had water. Or I'm so
Mhm.
thirsty, drink a bunch. So it'll also help you not to urinate it out so quickly.
Mhm.
And your body just better absorbs it when you sip on it. And the more raw fruits and raw vegetables you eat, that is another really great source of water.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. We've had Kate
Yes.
on here to talk about that before as well.
Mhm.
But it's really great too because our colons are usually very dehydrated. So when you are consuming those things that are full of water in their raw form, it's hydrating the colon and the other organs that need water. I mean, all of our organs need water, but it goes straight to the through that digestive tract, and it's so helpful. So
Yeah,
helpful.
because you're not supposed to technically be drinking when you're eating. The food that you're eating should be giving you the water that you need. Okay, but we don't do that.
Yeah.
We drink a lot of water and things while we're eating because we're eating steak and meats and a lot of carbohydrates, things that are not having water in it. But if you're
Mm,
eating a lot of salads and raw salads, raw vegetables, you're getting the water you need. So if you're going to drink something when you're eating, sip it you
very
know,
little. Yeah.
or add some lemon to the water, that gives it a little flavor. Because I know most of us are so used to brought up with, I know with me, I was brought up with Kool-Aid, okay? So had to have that great Kool-Aid, but we were talking very young to have something sweet with when we were eating. So I put always, God, probably for like 30 years now, I've been putting lemon in my water and I learned about agave maybe 20 years ago. So I put a little agave to give it a little sweet. So that's what I do. Um, Some people might disagree with me with that, but it works for me,
Yeah,
so,
it's whatever we can
okay,
do to get that in our system. We need hydration.
yeah,
Especially because we are dealing with so many outside, again, just in the air. So you need to constantly be
mm,
flushing as much as you can because it
yeah,
helps even with sinus and head issues and inhaling what we're inhaling constantly. Very important.
yes.
Um, so yeah, that was very good. The next two we'll go over a little bit too. The next two channels of elimination, sorry, three. There's three more channels. The liver, which is arguably one of the most important organs in our body when it comes to detoxing. Um, it's responsible for much of the work that goes into detoxifying and packaging up toxic substance and getting them ready for removal via the other channels of elimination. And the liver is a body's major filter. It's responsible for processing toxins from our blood and from our lymph. And lymph fluid is what is found in our lymph system and our lymph nodes. And we're going to talk on that one next. So it's processing toxins from the blood and the lymph, and it's breaking them down into less harmful substances so that they can be safely eliminated through urination, through bowel movements, through breathing, and through sweating. So the liver really was really working with every channel of elimination. Uh, there's something that's being said a lot about people having fatty livers, and the
Yes.
truth is, I would say 98% of us, no, 99% of us have fatty liver in one way, shape, or form because of what we eat and because of what's in our food. Some might have more fat than others in their liver, but the liver is something that should always be worked on. We should always be taking herbs and food that work with cleaning our liver because it gets hit hard every day with everything that we're consuming in our system. So we need that
Yes.
liver to be
It's amazing how
detoxed.
many people, gosh, I think in one week we had how many, two or three people
Mhm.
calling us about fatty liver. I'm like, what is this thing with fatty liver? It's kind of like back in few years back when Tim was here, people kept coming in about high blood pressure, high cholesterol. It was like almost everybody coming in. And
Mhm.
I remember this lady brought in her 9-year-old son one time and she's like, oh, they're saying that my son has high blood pressure. And he's like, what, 9 years old? And Tim's like, what? You know, and they wanted to put him on some medicines and stuff. And he told him, change his diet, change what you're doing. What is he drinking? She made those changes and she didn't end up putting him on the medication. But it's just amazing how, all of a sudden you'll hear high cholesterol, then you'll hear blood pressure, you'll hear all these phases coming through the office at one time, kind of seeing what's being told to everybody,
Mhm.
and this thing about the fatty liver, we need to work on our liver because that's like I said, everything is filtered through there. And especially too with women, you need to work on that because a lot of the women who've come to the office, not just working on your lymphatic system, but your liver because of your hot flashes, you know. You need to, we put people on the PMS, we put them on the FF2, number one, the colon cleanser, when they're having hot flashes or any female issues, but also too the lymphatics and the liver. And a lot of women get a lot of relief when they stay on that program for a while because they don't realize how toxic the liver is, their
Yes.
diet, what they've been doing, and
Mhm.
also too, I know, we're taught wine is a good thing. The new thing is wine, and so many people are into wine, but you got to remember too, how is that wine processed? What are the chemicals? And women love wine. They
Mhm.
really sold that on us. So be very careful. Um, with I would say alcohol in general, but wine. Some
Especially in
people,
America.
yeah, and they make it wine sound like, oh no, that's not an alcohol. That's not, no, no, that's different. No, it's not different. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that in there.
And I can't remember, and I literally just saw this the other day. I can't remember what the chemical or gas it is they use to age wine in America,
Mhm.
but so toxic for us. So toxic.
Yeah,
Again, most European countries don't use any of that, but we do here. So
yeah.
It's not naturally aged, it's chemically aged wine. Someone's asking a question here. It says, if you drink too much coconut water, does it overload the nutrients needed in the body? When you say overload the nutrients, are you saying like does it flush out the nutrients? Because I've heard people think that if you drink too much water, it'll flush out
Yes, that's what I'm
nutrients.
asking.
Okay. Um, I don't believe that that's so. I think your body is gonna always eliminate what it needs to. It's going
Mhm.
to, especially when when you're ingesting something that's helpful for your system. It's kind of like with the herbs. People say, "Oh, if I take the Superlax, it's gonna wipe out all the good stuff, or it's gonna um, wipe out all the other herbs I take." It's like, no, if it's natural, it knows, like it has the intelligence that God gave it to know, like I'm not gonna remove the good from your system too. Um, like I said a little while ago, excessive amounts of anything isn't healthy for our body because I mean, it's just overloading our systems. It's kind of like overeating, same thing. It
Yeah.
puts a lot of work on your body to have to break it all down, but I don't believe that that will happen with drinking coconut water. Are
Mhm.
castor oil packs helpful? Oil packs are amazing. The more I learn about the castor oil packs, I'm just like blown away. I
Mm.
mean, from stomach issues to cramps to somebody used it when they had a broken ankle. They were
Mm.
putting that, I think, um, on their the list goes on and on. Castor oil packs are amazing. People have cholesterol and high blood pressure, have a fatty liver. Oh, I think you're saying that because she was talking
Yeah.
about. Oh, she was just saying how there's just like these waves of they're dealing with. You hear a lot of people say, "Oh, have high cholesterol, high blood pressure." I wouldn't say honestly there would could be a correlation because fatty liver means your body is, especially excessively fatty liver, very, very full of toxins and cholesterol. We know that has to do
Mhm.
well. Cholesterol is good, but
Mhm.
excessive amounts of cholesterol has to do with if you are ingesting a lot of fat and meat and
Yeah.
dairy. So, and high blood pressure is very layered. Our diet plays a huge role in that, though. High blood pressure, huge
Mhm.
role in our the numbers there, and as well as sleep, as well as caffeine, sugar, stress, hormones. Blood pressure is very layered issue.
Yeah, but everything comes to um, what you ingest, what you're eating. Everything comes back to that.
Mhm.
No matter what it is you walk through our door with our customers, first thing we're always going to ask you how many times you're eliminating, because most people don't. And what's your diet like? If we could just, I mean, change your diet 50%.
Mhm.
You know, it's gonna make a big change for you, because I know some people is like, "You can't change what you're eating. I've been eating this way forever." They'd rather take the medication than change the way they eat. But then on the other hand, once you're on one medication, you're gonna go to another, to another, and you gotta just remember that you gotta take some responsibility for your health. You The medical doctors are there because we need them to be there. We live in, like my husband would say, you live in an artificial society. You need artificial means to help you out. Like you get in a car accident, you need someone to put you back together. You get break your arm, you got to go there and set your arm. But you got to take responsibility for yourself and change the way you eat. And I know it's very hard because none of us were taught how to do that. If we were taught how to eat from very young, we wouldn't be having all these issues. We just
Mhm.
wouldn't be. But they don't teach this in school and purposely don't teach it in school because you gotta remember from the day your mom has you, your mom as a mom has your baby, from that day in the hospital, they're already vaccinating your kids, and the minute that is done, you become a lifelong customer. And
Mhm.
I've learned that in my story, what happened with my kids and everything. I didn't know better until I started getting into the herbs. I already had 3 children, and then once by the time I had Danielle, I had met Tim, and I started learning, and I realized that everything I was told was not true. So, I know I'm scrolling a little bit, but, just changing your diet, which I did when I was pregnant with Danielle, made a big difference. I decided to have her at home, a home delivery after the 2 cesareans. They were considered VBACs, and you're not supposed to do that. And so I pretty much the myth that you have to have a C-section after you already had two, show that that's not true. So what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say is that you can make changes. I mean, once you get the knowledge, you can make those changes. And as I started going on my journey and my story, one day I'm going to share my whole story. Oh my gosh. And most women go through what I went through. But once I started on my journey and started learning and I started making those changes, um, my life changed, my health changed. And I went to 10 because I didn't think I was going to make it till I was 35 years old. And now I'm 65. So, and I have a daughter now who's 31 who was born at home. And all I did with her was herbs. So as you learn, what's the saying? As you know better, you do better, and that's
Mhm.
what we're trying to do is to share this information with you so you can make some changes. And some people, you got to remember, you can't make all these changes overnight. Take baby steps. When you try to change everything all at one time, you're going to overwhelm yourself. And trust me, you'll be back to the way you used to do things real quickly. Make those changes slowly. Um, do things in moderation. Do things in moderation. And number one thing I could say, put more greens on your plate. Put more greens on your plate and start reading labels in the store. That's what I started when I started doing it. I started putting more greens on the plate for my kids and started reading the labels. And wow,
Mhm.
my eyes were open. I was like, okay, I could do this. I can make these changes, you know.
Exactly, exactly. I like what someone said, "We perish for a lack of knowledge." Yep, so true.
It's
It's
true.
biblical. My dad would always quote that. Always, always quote that. No, but that was all very, very good because we have a lot of unlearning to do. And I know a lot of you on here have learned a lot already about this, but
Mhm.
you know, it's just good reminders because you can get into bad patterns and bad habits very easily. It's very easy. Our appetite to take a lot, based on what's happening in our life and our emotions, our hormones. Someone is asking, will the FF2 and PMS work for cyst removal? Uh, I'm assuming it's in the females area.
And
If you're
fibroids and cysts,
yeah,
yeah.
if you're consistent and again, diet and elimination, FF2 PMS is great.
Mhm.
Make sure the Superlax is on there with it. Um, a lot of women have had a lot of really good results, but you have to be consistent. And every herbal program always say give it at least 90 days. Um, but that's not to say, like, everything will be perfect and back to normal after 90 days, but it has to get to that cellular level. So but you have to make changes in your diet. If you're someone who's doing a lot of dairy products, that's gonna really contribute big time. Even a lot of meat, if you're doing a lot of meat all the time and a lot of sugar, of course, and, um for, the, caffeine, that's the other thing I
Yes,
was gonna say,
yes,
caffeine. So,
yeah,
just try to get more green juices, green
yes.
raw greens, and, raw green smoothies in your diet as well.
And make sure you're eliminating. You need to be eliminating. One bowel
Mhm,
movement a day is not going to get it. You need to, if you're eating 3 times a day, you should be going 3 times a day. And
mhm,
most of us eat 3 times. Well, I count our snacks as a meal because in here we eat snacks like a meal. So you really should be eliminating it every time you eat. If
so
you at least try to get yourself, if you're not eliminating it all, get to 1 time a day, get to 2 times a day, then get to 3 times a day. You'll be surprised how well you feel. And if you're having problems with fibroids and cysts, um, you have to make sure you're having that cycle. And if you're
yeah,
someone who's suffering with fibroids and cysts, you're going to see that you're having a lot of clotting coming out during your cycle. That's a good thing. That is not a bad thing. You want to see that. You know, I've had women who have come in who just had big chunks coming out of them. They were
mm,
freaking out, but it's like, no, 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 that's a good thing. That's why we always tell them when we're working with you, call us, ask us questions. A lot of what we know is we learn from you guys. You
yeah,
share with us what's going on with the and a lot of what I've learned, I've experienced myself, because I also too had was dealing with the I was dealing with the fibroid and this superlax, the PMS, the FF2, very important. And the dairy,
Mhm.
the whole dairy thing was women have been lied to. We are told when when we're pregnant that we need all this dairy for strong bones. We need it for the baby. Worst thing you could
Mm,
do. I've learned that. I used to do that with my other three, and I had the complications I had with the cesareans. And when it came to Danielle, I did no dairy. I didn't do any of the processed foods. I was such on a clean diet, and I was able to have her after
two
two
seasons.
cesareans naturally at home
Mm,
with the midwife. So yes, it can be done, but you got to do your part. The herbs are going to do their part. You got to do your part. You got to change what you're eating.
yeah,
Number one, dairy should be a treat.
yeah.
Dairy should be a treat. Dairy, I mean, it should scare you because dairy, I mean, what it does to women, if women really understood what dairy products did to them, they wouldn't touch it, you know, or use it as a treat. Again, like sugars, use it as a treat. All right. Dairy should not be consumed every day, 3 times a day. Now we got Starbucks going on. Starbucks is, drinking all those drinks should be a treat. Not something you're drinking 3 times a day, you know.
And she could add in the lymphatic health too. You
Yes.
could add in the
Yeah,
lymphatic just because it
yes.
works with mucus and the lymph node. We have a lot of lymph nodes in the female. So you could add that one on as well. Like he said, dairy is scary. Yeah, that's what I thought of when
Yeah,
she said that.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
there's a documentary called Dairy is Scary,
yeah.
if I'm right.
Mhm.
Um, and you see someone here that said they've had them on their ovaries and they changed their diet. Kate had that experience. So there's an example of someone who's had results as well. Um, and you're asking if the bottles reached expiration on the bottle, should they be discarded? On the bottom of the bottle, in regards to the dry pills, that's actually the manufacturing date.
Okay.
It's not required to have expiration on those because they're so well
Mm,
preserved naturally because they're dried, and
mm,
once you put
yeah.
water on them, they activate. So
Mm,
you should be good. I think they give you like a range of 4 to 6 years of it being at its highest potency. But even at that, as long as you keep them somewhere dry and not in a place with a whole lot of moisture,
yeah, they're just
they'll be
herbs.
good.
They're just herbs. You could, I've had some herbs here I've had for a long time and I still take them. They're still, they keep them in a dry place and they work just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And since we're kind of talking about lymphatics too, with what's going on, that this is one of the last ones. The lymphatic and then also the vaginal tract are the last two
Mhm.
channels of elimination. Women have the vaginal tract as an extra channel, like she's saying, because it's a monthly house cleaning. Every month it
Yeah.
has to happen. And if it doesn't, you will be miserable in one way, shape, or form. It's going to show. You're going to feel the difference. And again, for women, your mood will severely be affected by that, and it adds more stress and strain to your body. So that's how it's connected with our energy and our moods. So the lymphatic, just for those who don't know much about it, the lymphatic system is from the top of our head to the bottom of our feet. We have lymph nodes from head to toe. And the job that the lymphatic is it some of I'll give you kind of a brief synopsis. It collects excess fluid from your body's tissues and returns it to your bloodstream. It helps your body absorb fats, and it's helping to protect your body against invaders. It's a very, very large part of our immune system. We have a lot of lymph nodes in our gut, in our whole digestive system, and in our colon. And for women, we have a lot in our female, in the uterus area. And I mean, for men too, they still have a lot, but these for women, we just have a little extra just because of our female area. So we need to keep it cleansed because another thing that happens is it gets clogged up with a lot of excess protein, or you could also call it mucus, toxins. And unlike our blood has the heart to pump, but the lymphatics need us to move in order to keep that fluid going. And it needs us to be hydrated to flush as well. So it's vital. It's vital. We have more lymphatic fluid in our body than we have blood in our body. I know I've said this many times before, but just envision that. We know how much blood is in our body, but we actually have more lymphatic fluid in our body. So it's so
Yeah.
important.
And I just want to say, when it comes to working out, I think when you're younger, you're out there, you're trying to work out and you're trying to, I know for me, I went to a gym. It was actually a bodybuilding gym. And I was there trying to work out, do the weights, do heavy weights, heavy squatting. I was so proud of myself. I was with these guys doing all this and, really into weightlifting. We don't have to do all that. Weights are great and you could do those in moderation, but walk. Walk, the simplicity of walking and just moving your arms and swinging them over your head and going, just those movements. Walk out there, put some music in your ears. And I say this because I do this at least what 4 times, 5 times a week. I'm down at the beach and I just got to put this little side note in. I go there and most of us know Danielle is a professional singer also. So I put her album on in my ear and I hear the song The Prayer and I hear Time to Say Goodbye and I'm walking and oh my God, it's just amazing when you're listening to good music and you're walking and you're out there, how far you go before you know it, you're walking an hour, and you're just, and especially for women, we got to get out there and move. We got to work those lymph nodes. Great working out, doing all that weightlifting, but walk and get on a bicycle, stretching, that we're big, with stretching.
Stretching,
You got to stretch. To me, working out on weights without stressing, that's
stretching.
not good. I mean,
Mm,
you got to stretch. You should stretch and do weights, not just do weights.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
the simplicity of walking. Walk, walk,
Mhm.
walk. When people say, "Oh, I don't have time to go to the gym," that's okay because back in the day, gyms weren't around. We didn't have all these gyms. Um, we would be able
Mhm.
to just go walk around the block, walk at the park, walk at the beach. We need to just get back to those simple things,
Yeah.
just like the simple things as drinking water,
Mhm.
eating an apple, eating a fruit, the way God made an apple, the way that God made the fruit. He cooked it to the exact temperature for us to eat it, right? Those are the simple things we need to get back to, instead of apple pie and peach cobbler, all that cooked stuff already. We need to just get back to the simple
But it's so
things.
good.
Yeah. In moderation.
With the healthier ingredients.
Yeah.
Back to basics, exactly.
Yes.
I just
Yeah.
want to address somebody I was asking a question to. It says, I look at your site and I feel like I can use almost everything, but I'm concerned about taking too many products. How many products do you recommend that can be combined and taken daily? I might be the wrong person to ask that, but this is how I do it. I have my base, I have my foundational products, like my super, my female, my head start, my nerve control, um, my lymphatic health, and I mean, I'm trying to think, is there any other that are my foundational? I have a lot of foundational ones, but I'll do that, and then I will circulate the other ones in like the kidney, the liver. Oh, I do take Paracleanse every day too because parasites are in everything and everywhere. Um, so you can like have your base and then sometimes people will just for so many months they'll try a new one and circulate you'll know based on how you feel too like you bring a new one and you'll be like, "Oh, I really felt a difference taking that. I need to keep taking that one." Um Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know, I probably take 10 or more of our products, probably more than 10 every day. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
but your dad, when Tim would always tell you he'd take 300 herbs a day, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, that's a lot. But you had to know Tim to know him, how he when the Michael's on here, a few other people, Tim would just take those pills,
Just
herbs all the
a
time because he
handful.
he would out there roller skating. He would out there being on his bicycle, playing tennis, doing the steps, this and that. So he just kept taking those herbs to help keep himself
Going
fit,
fit.
energetic. But to say what to take for one, I think it says brandy here.
Yeah.
Um, find out when you first start with the herbs. with any herbs or any herbal program, don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't go crazy. We have all those herbs on those shelves, and I could sit here and say you need every one of them, and you probably do, but you got to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
You need to make sure, number one, you're eliminating, okay? And to me, a good foundational to start, you start with Superlax, your PMS, and the daily maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
That covers a lot. Okay. That's a good start. You
Mm-hmm.
know, from there, that's why, especially when you're starting with the herbs, we tell people talk to us, let us know what's going on with you when you're
Mm-hmm.
first starting or you're trying to change up something. Is we have consultants there, Danielle's there, Nancy's there, even Maria's there, she's consulting. Talk to us, we'll walk you through it so we could tell you what you should be doing, because I know some people's like, well, Tim takes 300 herbs a day. I'll take 300 herbs a day, right? And why I say that, because when I met Tim, I was trying to do what Tim did. I said, well, heck, if Tim could take 10 head start in the morning and 10 at night, I could do that too. No, no. I see Michael laughing. No, no, because you can't do that. I learned the lesson. I can't do that because we're all in a different place. Okay. And the I didn't realize how much medication, especially women, we have taken a lot of medication in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are like, well, I haven't done a lot of medication. If you had a baby, yes, you did. Because when you have a baby and so-called naturally in the hospital, it is not natural. If you have that IV in your arm, they're putting something in there.
Mm-hmm.
So you really got to just start slow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we could walk you through that
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And so you're asking again, can I take, how many can I take? You could these herbs are just like on a plate, and you're making a beautiful salad, like Kate makes these beautiful raw salads. You just put every different kind of vegetables you like in there. Tim would always say,
Mm-hmm.
use the colors of the rainbow in your salad. Okay. Just to make it as beautiful as you can. And that's what you want to do. So how many different vegetables can you put in their salads?
Herbs,
Can you
you
put in
said.
there? You probably could put 20 different things in there. How's that gonna affect you? It's gonna make you feel good.
Yeah.
Just like with herbs, there's so many different herbs that you could take too. But the difference with the herbs are they're more concentrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
More
They're
potent.
more concentrated, and you got to remember that. Okay. So that's why it's really important if you're trying to add something in or change something up. If you're not sure, give us a phone call and we'll talk to you about it, because one of us or all of us have been through what you're asking already.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of those people. It's always the joke. I had to end up marrying Tim because, oh gosh, I had him on the phone all day. He was like, okay, no, but it's just a joke. But anyhow, you got to call and ask those questions. You got to call and ask those questions because it's so important. Like what I might take, Danielle can't take what I've been taking, or what Danielle is doing. I might not be able to do what Danielle's taking. For one, she's younger than me. I'm older than her. You know, and like I said, I was trying to do what Tim was doing, but Tim was so different. He was just
And he
in a
was
different
taking them,
category.
and he was taking them for much longer
Yes, for a
than
lot
she
longer
was.
than me. And
His diet was different.
he is very active too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know many people as active as Tim was.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so I hope that answered your question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And someone said, can you repeat that where to start? She was just saying foundationally, you can do the Superlax, the daily preventative maintenance,
Mhm.
and the PMS for
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
And we also have the FF2 as well that you can add. But the PMS for women, the male hormone for
Yeah.
men,
Yeah.
that's like foundational. It covers a lot of things.
Mhm.
And then, of course, you can expand on that based on what you want to work on
Mhm.
specifically or detox a specific organ.
Yeah.
And then you also ask, so no break, just continuously. Some people take a day off. I
Mhm.
remember my father, Tim would say you can take the day off during the week. Um, it all depends again. It circles back around. What are you
Right.
eating every day?
Yes.
I myself don't take a break. I take them throughout the week. For one, I
Mhm.
know my food doesn't have all the nutrients it needs. And for two, I'm not always eating everything exactly perfectly the way I should every single day. Um, I do my very, very best. And I know, especially when it comes to elimination, like I
Mhm.
just need to take that every day to keep me regular.
Mhm.
So It's a preference. If you do prefer to take a day off, that's fine. No
Yeah.
problem.
Well,
No problem with that at all.
and Gwen, if I would, if you're a little not sure, give us a call because I know you've been taking the products for a while. So if it's for you, if you have questions, talk to us. If you're trying to find out for someone else, those are the foundational herbs I would start them with.
Yeah,
Okay.
those are very, very, very powerful herbs right there to start. And there were some other products that we were going to mention on here today because emphasizing on improve energy, improve your mood, improve um stress levels.
Yeah.
That's a constant. That's
Mhm.
every day, and there's many layers to that. But some of the herbs, aside from the superlax, of course, the maintenance that was mentioned, and the male and female products, we do have our product called Cardio Help. Cardio Help helps with circulation in the body. It helps with our heart health big time. Um, and most of us are suffering with circulatory issues because if you sit for long periods of time for your work, most people in some way, shape, or form do that. Or if you're just more of a sedentary person at home, um, when you research more about how detrimental sitting is for our body, it's actually kind of scary when you learn more about it and more in depth. I've watched the YouTube videos on it, and our circulatory health it controls everything. It can cause a lot of problems if you remain sedentary. So the cardio helps with the circulation in the body, as well as the capsicum and ginger.
Yes,
That's one
yes.
that is the capsicum
Mhm.
in there, very powerful. Um, then you have, again, like we were talking about the lymphatic, we have our product called Lymphatic Health, very great for the lymph nodes, powerful for the immune system, powerful for gut health too,
Yeah.
because of the amount of lymph nodes we have in the colon and in the digestive tract. Our product called Blood Builder. A lot of people are lacking in iron, iron deficient, mainly because of our food doesn't have all the iron and nutrients for our blood. So the blood builder is amazing. Um, and it's also good for women during is for menstrual health as well. And that these will definitely help improve your overall energy levels for sure. Um, and the nerve control. Reason why we mentioned the nerve control product is because it can help you with not put you to sleep, but it can have you relax and to give you better sleep. I have a friend of mine, he loves the nerve control because he's an actor and he says it's the best thing. It's helped me with my anxiety and my stress. So he swears by him. He can't live without his nerve control. So I take it mainly at night to help me have better sleep and to kind of help shut the brain down at night. So yeah, those would be the other suggested products for addressing, energy, mood as well. Someone does have one more question here. I'll take this one. The amount of the bottle says 2 to 4 twice a day. Can one take more or stick to directions as stated? You can definitely
Yeah.
increase. Yeah, we have 2 to 4, and then we also put on there or as desired. So that's definitely up. I mean,
Mhm.
there's plenty of them I take more than 4. And we usually suggest to do the 2 to 4 twice a day. So but if you need more than that, that is totally okay. I probably do about like 8 or so of the PMS twice a day. No problem there.
We have some women when they come to us, they'll take 10 Superlex at a time because they need that to start, you
Hmm.
know.
Some do that with the Superlax too,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. They got to do that.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to mention one thing too. I know she's going through, we're about to end, but the energy, you got to just remember your energy. Just a few notes on that. Caffeine, caffeine. I know we're addicted. The society is addicted to the caffeine, especially the way coffee is made here. It's interesting. In some other countries, you could drink coffee and it doesn't have the effects as it does here in our coffee in our country. So caffeine, people use it to for the energy, but you got to realize coffee is actually stealing your energy because you're going to crash. Okay,
Hmm.
and just try getting off of coffee.
Hmm.
that you're going to go through some withdrawals. You'll feel how miserable you're going to feel, groggy,
Irritable.
yeah. And you got to just, if you can, start weaning yourself off of it. Do matcha, the green matcha tea. That is a great way for you to get some energy from that. Or the cacao powder, the raw cacao powder is excellent too to give you energy.
Hmm.
So those are a couple of things that you could use because coffee, I mean, that especially women, men too,
Yeah.
but it's just it's as women we already do. They've already done so much to us. Adding coffee on to that is not good, you know.
It gives, especially, here, like you said, here in this country, the chemicals. So if you can find the cleanest coffee, I mean, you can find very, very, very clean coffee. And even with that, you don't want to go excessive with it. Um, but the chemicals, again, it comes down to the chemicals that they use and they
Mhm.
put. And there's also the pesticides and herbicides, but they, which are chemicals, but those are a big part of what wreaks havoc on our body. It's not
Mhm.
even like the coffee per se, because the coffee bean itself is actually, there's a lot of health benefits to
Mhm.
it,
Yes,
but it's what is
the process.
it's the process
Yeah.
of our coffee, and it
Mhm.
is very dehydrating for our system, and acidic, as someone mentioned, very acidic. So
Yeah.
it gives you this false adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's a false adrenaline, and it puts more stress on your adrenals too.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
just try to find some alternatives to, that you can, when you feel like, oh, I need another cup of coffee, I need another
Yeah.
one.
And just one more thing I want to mention too is pay attention to foods when you're eating out or on the boxes that have MSG, monosodium glutamate. That was one of the things I learned when I first started coming to Tim and was learning about foods and stuff like that, that I had to identify. You have to, when you're eat your meal and see how you feel after you eat that meal within that hour or sometimes half an hour. How identify how am I feeling? Because you'll start learning about your food when you do that. And that's what happened to me is I had to start, okay, I would eat something. Before you know it, I was ready for my head to hit the table and I didn't understand what was going on with me because I was eating a lot of vegetables all the time with my meals, especially Chinese food. I was love Chinese food. Go out, I would have Chinese food. I couldn't understand. By the time I would leave the restaurant, my head would be hurting me. I got home and I would just be out. And that happened to me a few times. And finally, I started learning more about Chinese food and monosodium glutamate, the MSG,
MSG.
they call it yeast extract. There's a whole list of names. Look it up. Monosodium glutamate. Look it up. Stay away from that. You're talking about something that steals your energy quickly. And it's in so many foods. And most of us old timers remember accent. They used to use that as a meat tenderizer. That is total monosodium glutamate. Okay, MSG. You know, keep it out of your diet. That's something you don't need. When you go to a restaurant, ask, do you have MSG in your food? Most of them will be honest. I'll be honest. Sometimes some of these Chinese places won't tell you the truth because they want you to buy the food. But ask if it has monosodium glutamate in it. Read your labels when you're at the store buying Chinese food, or you're going to make something Chinese food. Or some people they found a lot of people who were allergic to soy sauce because the soy sauce had MSG in it.
Yeah.
So pay attention to your labels. It's
Think
so important because that'll steal your energy, right? That'll cause stress on your body, you know. So pay attention to your food. That it is just so important
I
what you're
think
putting in your system.
I think they consider MSG a
Yeah,
neurotoxin.
neurotoxin. Yes.
Lard is another one too, right? Lard in your food.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, it's the seasoning most of the time, and it's hard because they
Yeah.
should tell you
Yeah.
the truth when you ask, but
Yeah, just remember that. And
and of course the oils that they're using in the food too can affect your digestion too.
Kate is saying here the body needs an alkaline environment to heal. Definitely.
And
Um,
and she said, "I just tell them at the restaurant it makes me very sick, and they will be honest to tell you." So
yeah.
tell them you're allergic,
Yeah.
which you are. We all are technically.
And if you remember Tim, if all of us who know Tim, he would always talk about number one thing, mucus, 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 mucus. If you didn't learn anything from Tim, you learned about mucus and making sure you were having your bowel movements. Though he was very strong on that. He says, stay away from mucus forming foods. Okay. Mucus forming foods and dairy, number one, white rice, white sugar, um, white flour, things like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, stay away. And how I say it, stay away, but if you have to, let that be a treat. A treat.
Hmm.
Little bit,
Exactly.
little bit.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna share this really, really quickly on our slide here. This is the ones he tell you to stay away from.
Oh, great, great, great.
All of our family members.
I think some of
Sarah,
you remember Tim would always talk about your family members, right? Aunt
Sarah,
Jemima, Uncle Ben, Betty Crocker, and Sarah Lee and
Kraft.
Kraft. That was
Yeah.
always in Tim's meetings. He would teach us that,
Mm,
and he
yeah.
says sometimes your family aren't your best friends.
Yeah, all those good delicious treats from them,
Yeah,
full of processed lifeless food.
yeah.
So just, just bear that in mind.
And pay attention when you go to the store. I never knew this until was it maybe how many years ago we met our friend Nancy Grenier. She's vegan, extreme vegan. I never even knew there was a difference between with the white flour. I would go to the store and buy white flour and cooked. I cooked with a lot of white flour back then. I didn't know better, but I never even knew they had an unbleached flour.
Unbleached white flour, yeah.
Unbleached white flour. That was something new to me. So when I learned that, I don't use white flour like rarely ever anymore because
Yeah.
it really bothers me. But back then, when I learned, I switched from white bleached flour to unbleached flour. So that was part of my baby steps, getting to where I am today.
Hmm.
But yeah, even the white flour, they bleach it. So you can get it unbleached, just something to note.
You definitely can. Exactly. And these are the things that we want to be eating, to name a few, as it says at the bottom there. We've got to consume the food we eat is the fuel that we are building our bodies on, and our body is only as strong as the fuel it's given. It's only as healthy as the fuel we give it. Yes, guys. So we hope this was informative. And we're gonna move right along now onto the raffle. So as we mentioned in the email and the that in order to be qualified for the raffle, you have to be in here by 6:15. So there were quite a few of you here that were in the Zoom logged in by 6:15. So we're gonna ask you for your email once we announce the winners here. So the first winner is going to receive, sorry, bear with me here just one moment. Um just getting my note. The nerve control. So one lucky winner will get a bottle of nerve control. And let me just see what our final uh raffle winner was going to be for that. So for the nerve control, and I hope she's still in here. Is Diane still? Yes, I do see Diane. So Diane, I'm going to put in the chat our email address. So this email address I'm going to put in the chat. We'll need you to send us an email with your name, first and last name, and your address to send you the product to. Okay. So that's our first winner for that guy. And then I'm gonna move on
Thank
to
you.
yeah, no problem.
And I wrote that item down. That's funny. I won it. I find that funny. I wrote it down.
It was meant for you.
I know. Thank you. Thank
Awesome, awesome. All right, and then we have the next one is cardio help. Okay, so the cardio help, we have our winner is going to be Danielle Galloway. And I hope she's still on here. Is she still here? Okay, I think she is. So Danielle, if you can, um, the email that I put in the session in the chat, make sure you send us your first last name and your address that will ship you the cardio help. And that's the great product that's really good for the circulation and for heart health. So hey, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you all for coming on here. This was really good. You guys had a lot of questions today, and we love that. It's always nice, and you guys are um, verbal and connecting in the chat. We love when that happens. So we will be having another herbal hour / Q&A in August. There isn't an exact date yet, but just keep an eye out for your emails and just to stay on when that will come up. We try to give you guys a sufficient amount of time but before we're going to be on, so just keep an eye out there. And yeah, and if any of you want to take advantage of our consultations, we offer 10-minute free consultations if you call us at our office. And then if you want something more in depth, we offer 30-minute consultations for $45. So, feel free to contact us as well at our office.
We're going to give them Kate's information too if they want to learn about go to her. She posts a lot of recipes and stuff that she does, raw recipes and juicing, a lot of goodies on there. So let us.
Yeah, I have
Maybe
to
we
just
could put
pull
it.
up her.
Well, Kate, can you type in your?
I found it. This is, if you guys have Instagram,
Yeah.
this is her username. She has incredible recipes.
Okay.
Some of you have experienced her food, but she has incredible recipes, and she has an ebook as well with the recipe book.
Yes.
There you go. So jot that down there. Jot down her username and check out her page and get her ebook if you can. Incredible stuff.
And Kate, maybe I know there's a lot, maybe some older people here are on Facebook. I'm not sure if you post on your Facebook, but do you have an email they could contact you at if they have questions or when to ask you something also? Because I know Kate does consultations too, so you'd have to discuss that with her on for that.
I don't know if she heard.
Did you put that in?
I don't know.
I don't know. Did she hear me?
Miss Kate. Oh, they can call on social media. On social media for now. Yeah, that's what she has for now. Yeah. All right, everybody.
Or you could send, if you have a question for her, we could always get it to her. So if you go to our info email too, we could get the information to her. Okay.
Yes. All right, everybody. It was lovely to see you all. And we will see you on the next one, I hope. And have a lovely summer and a great rest of your Tuesday. Bye.
Thank you.